Empathy has long stood at the core of what it means to be human. It bridges the chasm between individual experience and collective understanding, weaving together the intricate tapestry of society. Unlike sympathy, which simply acknowledges another's struggles, empathy invites us to step into someone else's shoes and see the world through their eyes, feel their joys, and sense their pain. This remarkable capacity is not an optional skill but a foundational element of our social existence, integral to personal relationships, communities, and civilizations as a whole. On a neurological level, empathy is astonishing in its depth and complexity. Within our brains, specialized networks called mirror neurons allow us to instinctively resonate with the emotional states of others. When we witness someone in pain, be it stubbing a toe or grieving a loss, these neurons activate as if we ourselves are experiencing the same event. Through this process, our internal world becomes a mirror, briefly reflecting the emotional landscape of another person. This automatic resonance forms the bedrock of empathy, allowing for real-time, visceral connection even across vast divides of culture, language, and experience. Yet empathy is far from a passive process. Beyond mere reflection, it is an active engagement, a weaving together of perception, interpretation, and response. Recognizing another's distress or happiness often compels us toward action, whether offering comfort, celebrating, or simply acknowledging their reality. This ability to tune into and react to others' emotional cues has roots that stretch deep into our evolutionary history. Evolutionary psychologists argue that empathy conferred massive advantages to early humans. Groups whose members could anticipate needs, diffuse conflict, and support each other fared better, their bonds strengthening the fabric of their tribes and communities. In essence, the survival of our species was shaped not by the strength of the lone individual, but by the cooperative power of the empathetic group. Throughout the ages, the nuances of empathy have been shaped and colored by the societies in which we live. While the capacity for empathy is embedded in our biology, its outward expression is sculpted by our environment, upbringing, and the cultural stories that surround us. There's striking variability across the globe in how empathy is taught, encouraged, or sometimes even discouraged. For instance, in collectivist societies, such as many in East Asia, Africa, and South America, community well-being and interdependence are prized above all. Children grow up immersed in a culture that reinforces the importance of anticipating others' needs, being responsive to group context, and maintaining harmony. Here, empathy is nurtured not only within families, but in the very fabric of society, often extending most strongly to those seen as in-group members. In contrast, individualistic cultures, common in parts of Europe and North America, place a premium on self-reliance and personal achievement. Though empathy is still valued, its expression may be more selective, concentrated within personal relationships, or directed toward specific causes. Language, too, shapes our empathetic reach. Words allow us to name emotions, to communicate experiences, and to connect across difference. Some languages have highly nuanced vocabularies for emotional states, while others rely more on shared context and nonverbal cues. These linguistic differences can influence not only how emotions are understood, but how deeply empathy is felt and expressed. Modern neuroscience has illuminated that empathy is not a singular process, but rather a symphony of interlocking mechanisms. Cognitive empathy enables us to intellectually understand the feelings or perspectives of others, a crucial skill for negotiation, leadership, or even artistic creation. This form of empathy is handled by regions of the brain such as the medial prefrontal cortex and temporoparietal junction. It allows us to imagine what others are thinking and to predict their reactions, even if we don't share their emotions ourselves. Effective empathy, by contrast, is about actually feeling with someone else. It triggers when we see a friend cry, and our own heart aches in response. Neural pathways in the anterior insula and anterior cingulate cortex fire up, blurring the distinction between self and other, enabling a deep resonance that lies at the heart of compassion and care. Both forms are essential, offering different windows into the experiences of those around us. Yet empathy is not without its shadows. Its very power can create vulnerabilities, not only for individuals, but for society. Psychologists have identified phenomena such as empathy fatigue or compassion fatigue, a kind of emotional burnout that often affects caregivers, healthcare workers, or anyone exposed to continuous suffering. The repeated demand to tune into others' pain can become overwhelming, eventually leading to numbness and detachment. In the modern world, where news and social media bombard us with stories of tragedy, outrage, and loss from across the globe, many people experience a kind of chronic emotional overload. This can lead to a paradox where, surrounded by suffering, we become less emotionally responsive. Moreover, empathy is not always impartial. Studies consistently show that people tend to feel empathy more readily for those who look, act, or believe similarly, an instinct known as in-group favoritism. While this may have helped small groups cooperate in ancient times, it also has a darker side, reinforcing biases, stoking divisions, and limiting our concern for outgroups or those perceived as other. In the digital age, the landscape of empathy is being transformed. Technology and media have extended the bounds of our awareness, allowing us to witness firsthand the experiences of strangers worlds away. Photos, videos, and personal stories flood our screens, creating unprecedented opportunities for empathetic connection. We can grieve alongside a community struck by disaster on another continent, celebrate with a family welcoming a new arrival, or support movements championing justice we once knew little about. But empathy in this era is not a given. It must be cultivated. Intentional practices like mindfulness and meditation can expand our capacity for compassionate awareness, teaching us to recognize and regulate our own emotions so we can be more present for others. Engaging with literature, film, and art exposes us to diverse perspectives, training our imaginations to wander beyond the familiar. Empathetic storytelling, whether in journalism, education, or entertainment, provides a powerful pathway for building empathy across divides, reminding us of our shared humanity. Ultimately, empathy is a choice, a daily decision to listen, to care, and to bear witness to the lives unfolding around us. By nurturing this capacity within ourselves and encouraging it in others, we help to build a more connected, compassionate, and resilient world. In doing so, we honor the deep evolutionary legacy that binds us, celebrating the best of what it means to be human.